Like the year we've been through, this election day is unlike anything we've ever seen.
On top of increasingly polarized politics, people are heading to the polls amid a once-in-a-century pandemic. Hundreds of thousands of Rhode Islanders have already voted early, and the polls today, masks and plexiglass dividers were common sights, like right here in Providence.
And this polling place in Pawtucket had a sign out telling voters only 3 could be in the building at a time, while the benches outside were taped off. But despite the pandemic, turnout is high. The Board of Elections says Rhode Island is on track to pass 2016's turnout, with polls still open for another couple of hours.
Meanwhile, a sign of uneasiness outside. There was something we are not used to seeing during an election. Businesses boarding up in Providence and cities across the country over concerns of unrest. We've learned both Santander and Citizens Bank plan to close early today out of an abundance of caution. Your local election headquarters has a team of reporters covering the turnout, along with local congressional races, some hotly contested mayoral races, and statewide ballot questions both in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. And we begin our team coverage with 12 News reporter Kim Kalunian. She's live at the Ava Messer School in Providence. Hi, Kim.
Hey, Mike, this polling place here in Providence has been steadily busy today, this election day, and the voters we spoke with here say they feel like the stakes have never been higher.
I hope whatever people want to do, they show up and vote, because it really matters.
Voters in Providence eager to make their voices heard in this year's presidential election. So you'll be voting for Biden today?
Oh, hell yeah. Strong. My presidente is strong. I'm sorry. Congratulations, everybody!
Some voters have been diligently casting their ballots every election cycle, while others were moved to for the very first time.
You know, I was always that person, I don't know how much my vote matters. So.
But this year you feel like it does?
I mean, yeah, it's still in a blue state, but like I said, if you're not going to try to change something that's broken, then you really can't complain about it.
And as for what happens when the polls close, the Rhode Islanders we spoke with have various approaches to watching the returns.
Yeah, I'll probably just be crying all day and all night until we know. Yeah, I haven't stopped crying, really.
So when will you find out who's won? Tomorrow morning?
I guess we'll probably find out in December, right? I imagine it's going to be that close.
And as you can hear, a lot of different emotions here at the polls today. A lot of hope, but also a lot of anxiety. Live in Providence, I'm Kim Kalunian, 12 News.
Kim adding some color to a very unique election day. Well, the contentious presidential race is driving the enormous turnout here and across the country.
Will voters give President Donald Trump another 4 years at the White House, or will Joe Biden be moving in come January? With states having to count record numbers of mail and early ballots, we may not know the answer to those questions tonight.
Target 12 investigator Tim White and 12 News politics editor Ted Nesi join us from the Update Center with the latest on the race for the White House. Guys, I hope it's not as that one voter predicted the results in December.
Yeah, I'm going to need a change of clothes if we're here until December. Absolutely. And look, we're going to start finding out, hopefully, Shannon, because the first polls have just closed in part of 2 states, Indiana and Kentucky. Now, President Trump is expected to win those easily. But let's take a look at the map. All of America will be watching very closely over the coming hours. Ted, of course, 270 electoral votes are needed to secure the White House.
And at 8 o'clock, 21 states will close some or all of their polling places, and those states are worth 238 electoral votes, much of what you need. They include a crucial battleground, Florida. That's a state Trump won in 2016 and probably needs to win again. And we are expecting results fairly early from Florida. I just heard Miami-Dade should have them out in the first hour after they close. That should give us a good indication of how things are going tonight.
And both candidates have also spent a lot of time in another key swing state, Pennsylvania. You can see Joe Biden right here. He was in his hometown of Scranton earlier today and spoke to supporters in Philadelphia.
I promise you this, although I'm running as a proud Democrat, if you elect me, I'm going to be an American president. There's going to be no red states or blue states, just the United States of America.
And yesterday, President Trump was also in Pennsylvania as well as Michigan, both states he carried 4 years ago. Earlier this afternoon, he arrived at his campaign headquarters in Virginia.
I think Pennsylvania is very important. Florida is very important, obviously. A lot of people talked about Texas, and Texas is, we will have a tremendous victory there based on, everything that you see.
Meanwhile, in Washington, they're taking extra precautions at the White House, where the president plans to watch the returns come in tonight. The National Park Service erected fencing around the building ahead of potential protests this evening. The fence was requested by the Secret Service and is designed so it cannot be climbed. It's expected to remain up for several days. Another sign of how tense this election day is in many places.
Ted, we're going to be spending a lot of quality time together right here at the Election Update Center tonight, including a live digital special on WPRI.com at 8 p.m. when the polls close here in Rhode Island, in Massachusetts, as well as other key states. For Ted Nesi, I'm Tim White, 12 News.
Thank you, Tim and Ted. Locally, one of the biggest races is in Cranston's District 15. Speaker Nicholas Mattiello is trying to defend his state house seat against Republican challenger Barbara Ann Fenton Fung.
The outcome could have major implications for one of the most powerful positions in Rhode Island politics. 12 News reporter STEPH Machado is following the race tonight. Steph?
I'm here at one of the 4 polling places in House District 15 here in western Cranston. This is the more conservative part of the city. They have sent Nick Mattiello to the State House every 2 years since 2006. We've seen both candidates swing through here multiple times today, making their final pushes with 2 hours of voting to go. House Speaker Nicholas Mattiello hopes he can fend off a Republican challenge from Barbara Ann Fenton Fung.
And I think people are rallying around me. They know that I care about the community.
But Fenton Fung says it's time for change.
Well, I knocked on every single door, even if you had a Mattiello sign on, because it doesn't matter. I still want to form a good relationship with everybody in the community.
The Republican First Lady of Cranston has heavily campaigned on the recent criminal trial of Jeff Britt, facing a money laundering charge related to his work on Mattiello's 2016 campaign.
I think the trial, the Jeff Britt trial, really brought to light some of the more seedier details. So for people who kind of thought, well, you know, it doesn't have to do with him, and then they saw the details of the trial come out, they were like, no, we cannot allow this to go on anymore.
Mattiello, who was not accused of wrongdoing in that trial and has distanced himself from Britt, tells me he does not think the trial affected voters' decisions. He's been focused on his promise to phase out the car tax.
I will tell you, my reception has been remarkably positive, more so than in the last 2 election cycles. I think people are concerned with what's going to benefit their lives.
And turnout here in District 15 has officially surpassed turnout in 2016, with more than half of the voters so far casting ballots before Election Day. We will see tonight and in the days of counting to come which candidate that heavy turnout favored. Live in Cranston, Steph Machado, 12 News.
Thank you, Steph. And tonight, Cranston voters will choose a new mayor for the first time in more than a decade, with Mayor Alan Fung, term limited. Running to succeed him, Republican Ken Hopkins and Democrat Maria Bucci. We caught up with both candidates today. Bucci says she's encouraged by the turnout, while Hopkins says Cranston voters are unique.
People vote the person. They don't just go in and vote the party like a lot of Rhode Islanders do. They do their homework. They listen to our planks.
I think this year is really exciting. I think we've seen so much going on in this country, and it felt very powerful this year.
More than 35,000 people have voted in Cranston so far. That is 60% of all the registered voters in the city.
Voters in 3 other Rhode Island cities are casting ballots for mayor, including voters in the state's smallest city. Central Falls Mayor James Diosa is also term limited. Running to replace him are City Councilor Maria Rivera and former Police Chief Joe Moran. Voters in Warwick are deciding whether to give incumbent Mayor Joe Solomon another term or send independent challenger Frank Picozzi to City Hall. And over in Woonsocket, incumbent Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt is facing a challenge from John Brian.
And this could be the last time Rhode Island has 2 U.S. House contests on the ballot. Depending on the results of this year's census, the state could lose a House seat in 2022. Incumbent Congressman David Cicilline is being challenged by independents Jeffrey Lemire and Frederick Wysocki in District 1. In District 2, former state rep Robert Lancia is taking on incumbent Congressman Jim Langevin. On the Senate side, incumbent Jack Reed is being challenged by Republican Alan Waters.
Also on the ballot today, whether or not to officially remove Providence Plantations from the state's name. Lawmakers decided to put it up for voters earlier this year. Now, voters previously rejected changing the state's name 10 years ago.
Right now, the Board of Elections is gearing up to start delivering results once the polls close.
12 News reporter Walt Buteau joins us now live from the Board of Election headquarters in Cranston.
And so far the concentration here is the mail ballots. Right now the high-speed scanners we've been talking about all night fired up again. The state added a third machine here to keep up with the turnout. Nearly 160,000 mail ballots cast, just obliterating past mail ballot totals. And as we pan to the left, these are some of the seasonal hires hired by the state to check signatures and then also extract the actual ballot from the oath envelopes. That's what they're doing right here, and they're sorting them by the city and town. Once they are boxed up and ready to go, they come back to those high-speed scanners. We are told that this part of the process will wrap up relatively soon, but they will still have some mail ballots cast in many of the ballot boxes throughout the state. Those will be counted in the next couple of days, and of course Robert Raposa, the executive director of the Board of Elections, expects a near final total by the end of the week. We'll be here all night to keep you posted. For now, we're live in Cranston. Walt Buteau, 12 News.